If you are a woman over 50, right now, while you sit watching this, your bank is most likely charging you a fee it would erase in under a minute if you said 6 exact words. Almost no woman your age knows those words exist because no one at the branch is ever going to tell you. I ran a branch for 22 years, and I sat in the meetings where they trained us to keep you quiet about this very thing. So before the end of this, I am going to hand you the 6 words and the 4 parts around them that make the bank say yes. Stay with me because the words alone are the smallest piece of it. If you have ever opened your own statement, found a fee you did not agree to, and felt that there was nothing you could do because the bank had already taken it, this is for you. I am talking to the women who have kept the same account for 30 and 40 years, who read their statements closely, who feel it in their stomach when the number at the bottom is smaller than it should be. Most people believe that once a fee posts to the account, it is final, that the computer charged it, the money is gone, and arguing about $12 makes you the difficult customer. I understand why you would think that. But it is the opposite of how it works. Nearly every fee a retail bank charges has a reversal code a banker can apply in about 30 seconds, and the bank's own procedures tell them exactly when to use it. You were never the customer they were trained to offer it to. I know that because in those 22 years behind the desk, I was the one who decided whether to apply it. I sat in the Monday morning huddles where the district leaders handed out the quotas. So many premium checking upgrades a month. So many of the loyal 40-year customers moved into the account that scored highest for us and cost them the most. And I watched the people I liked best, the women who had banked with us their whole adult lives, pay for fees they could have had reversed with one phone call. Nobody at that counter had any reason to tell them so. So let me tell you what I told my own mother. There is a courtesy reversal. It is real, it is written into the procedures, and it has been there the whole time. Here is what the bank does not volunteer. Reversing a fee or two a year for a customer in good standing is something the bank treats as goodwill. There is no law that forces them to do it on an ordinary fee. They do it because keeping a 30-year customer happy is cheaper than losing her. The teller across the counter has every reason in the world not to mention it, because nobody is scored on giving it away. That waiver code has been sitting in branch procedure for years, and the only thing that ever triggers it is a customer who knows to ask. For most people, it stays unused for a lifetime. The women who finally learn it exists are the ones who stop paying. So before the end of this, I am going to walk you through the whole thing, the exact kind of words you say, why a bank says yes to them, when to call, and how few days you really have. Who to ask for, because it is almost never the person standing in front of you, and the exact thing to say when the first answer is no. By the time we are done, you will know what one of my previous customers knew, the one who had her fee reversed by lunch the same day. The words alone will not carry you, though. They fail without the 4 parts around them. So let me start with the words and then show you what makes them work. The first thing to understand is what these words actually are. They are not a complaint, and they are not a threat. They are not the long story about your late husband and the 40 years you gave this bank, told to a 25-year-old who has been there 4 months. The words are a short, calm request. Calm is the whole thing. You are asking a person who is allowed to say yes for a small courtesy, and you are giving them an easy reason to grant it. When people lose this, it is almost always because they argued. They got loud, or they got wounded, or they demanded. And the moment a customer demands, the banker stops looking for a way to help and starts protecting the bank. A calm request opens the goodwill door. An argument bolts it shut. The difference between your $12 staying on that statement or falling off it is the temperature of one sentence. But a calm request, said to the wrong person on the wrong day, still gets a no. And the first reason it fails is the reason the bank ever says yes in the first place. The reason it works at all is the same thing that tells you how to ask. The reversal is a courtesy, not a right. The bank carries a small amount of goodwill for each customer, the way a store carries a few returns it did not have to take. A fee or two reversed in a year, for a woman who has banked there for decades and keeps her account in good standing, costs them almost nothing and keeps a relationship worth far more. Overdraft itself started back in the late 1960s as a courtesy the bank did for you, not a product designed to charge you. The goodwill posture is older than the fee machine, and once you understand that this is a favor you have earned and not a rule you are enforcing, you know exactly how to ask. You do not march in citing regulations. You give the banker the clean reason to say yes. You have been here a long time. Your account is in good standing. This fee is new, or it is the first time, and you would like it taken care of. Ask for a courtesy that exists, framed as the courtesy it is, and you tend to get the yes. Ask for a right you do not have on an ordinary fee, and you get the scripted no. Which means the single biggest thing that decides this is not the words at all. It is the human who has the authority to apply them. And it is almost never the person you are standing in front of. This is the part that surprises people most, so stay with me. If you are still here, you are exactly the customer who notices when something is off on her statement, and this is the piece you were never handed. The teller cannot reverse your fee. It is not that the teller will not. The authority to apply that waiver code lives one desk over with the personal banker or the branch manager, and the layout of that branch is not an accident. The person who greets you at the counter is not the person who can help you, by design. So you do not stand at the teller window and accept the first no. You ask, calmly, to speak with the banker or the branch manager. And there is a clock on this too. A courtesy reversal is easiest on a fresh fee. Call or go in within a few days of seeing it, while it is recent and it is the first of its kind. And it is the simplest yes a banker gives all day. Let it sit for 3 weeks, or let it become the habitual fee that has hit every month for a year, and it becomes the hardest. The right words to the wrong person 3 weeks too late is the single most common reason a perfectly good request gets turned down. Say them to the banker, recently, calmly, and most of the time the fee is gone. But most of the time is not always. So the next part is the one nobody hands you. The exact thing to say when they tell you no. Because they will, sometimes on the first try. And this is where almost everyone makes one of 2 mistakes. They either give up at the first no, or they get loud. And getting loud guarantees the no becomes permanent. The move is neither. You climb, calmly, one level at a time. You restate it plainly. You have been a customer here for a long time. Your account is in good standing, and you are asking for this one fee to be reversed as a courtesy. If the banker still says no, you ask to speak with the branch manager. And if the branch manager holds the line, there is one more number, and it is the one the bank hopes you never think to call: the retention line. That department exists for a single purpose, to keep you from leaving, which is exactly why it can reverse what the branch just declined. The retention line answers to a different scoreboard than the teller. You are not raising your voice. You are raising the level. One calm escalation, by phone, is the difference between a no and a yes more often than you would believe. Think back to that customer of mine who had her fee gone by lunch. She did not win because she argued better than anyone else. She did not argue at all. She escalated. She knew to ask for the person who could actually say yes. And if even the retention line holds firm, there is one door left, and this one is different from everything I have described so far. This one is not a courtesy you are asking for. It is a right with a deadline, and it is the only place the word force honestly belongs. Here is the line you have to keep clean in your mind, because the bank counts on you blurring it. Everything up to now, the calm request, the escalation, the courtesy reversal, applies to an ordinary fee you do not think you should be paying. That is goodwill. They can still say no. But if the charge is an error or something you never authorized, that is not a courtesy anymore. That is a federal rule, and it is on your side. You have 60 days from the statement it first appears on to report an error or an unauthorized charge to the bank. Once you do, the bank has 10 business days to investigate it. This is the error dispute right, and it is the one thing in all of this that the bank cannot brush off, because it is not asking. Now this is important, and I want to be honest with you the way a salesman never will. This 60-day right is for errors and charges you never agreed to. It is not a magic wand for a fee you legitimately owe and just dislike. That one is still the courtesy path, and they can decline it. But the loyal customer who watches her statement closely is exactly the one who catches the charge that should not be there at all. And on that charge, the clock is the only thing that matters. Miss the 60 days and the legal door closes, which leaves one question that decides whether any of this works on the first call. And the answer is something you have owned for 40 years and have never once spent. So let me name the thing that most people get wrong, because it is the most expensive belief in this whole subject. Most women I talk to think their loyalty is sentimental, that the bank does not actually care that they have been there 40 years, that it is a nice feeling and nothing more. I understand why. The teller is new every time, the branch keeps changing, and nobody ever seems to remember you. But inside that bank, your loyalty is not a feeling. It is a number on a retention model. A long-tenured customer with several accounts is precisely the customer the bank's own math says to keep happy, because losing you costs them far more than reversing one fee ever could. The years are not nostalgia. The years are leverage. And the only reason you have never used them is that no one ever told you they were leverage. The real stake is not the fee. And I want you to sit with that for a second. The fee is $12. That is not the thing you are actually deciding. What you are deciding is whether 40 years of being a good customer buys you anything back at all. And the entire difference, the whole difference, is whether you ask. If you have kept the same account for decades, and you read your statement closely enough to feel it in your chest when a fee shows up that was not there before, you already do the hardest part of this. You notice. The rest is 6 sentences. So I did something. I wrote out the exact words, the calm request and the escalation, word for word. The line for when they say no, and the line that names the 60-day right, all on a single page you can keep by the phone. It is free. The link is in the description below. That is the only thing I will ask of you in this whole video. And once you have the words, the part that surprises people is not the request. It is how short the answer is for when the bank says no. Now, you have been patient with me, so let me close the loop I opened at the very beginning. The 6 words I promised you. People want the magic to be in the phrasing. They want there to be a secret combination of words, and if they just say it exactly right, the fee has to fall off. I understand the wish, but that is not where the power is. Some sentences are more persuasive than others. That is true. The bank's own goodwill procedure, though, does not track your vocabulary. It tracks your standing and your years. So here are the words. You call your bank, you reach the banker, not the teller, and you say, "I would like this fee reversed, please." That is it. 6 words. I would like this fee reversed, please. Calm, short, no argument, no apology. And the reason they work is not the words. It is who hears them and when, and the loyalty sitting underneath them that the bank's own math has already counted. The words are the key. The door is the person you say them to, the few days you said them in, and the 30 years of good standing that make yes the cheap answer for the bank. That courtesy policy was always in their procedures. It did not appear the day you called. The only thing that ever changed was that someone finally asked. Picture the statement that lands in your mailbox next month. You run your finger down the fee column, and the $12 that was there every single month for years is just not there anymore. Reversed the afternoon you finally called, by a banker who had the code the whole time and had never once been asked for it. You set the statement down on the kitchen table, and you do not call anyone because there is no one left to fight. For 22 years I had that code, and nobody scored me on giving it away, and I gave it to the women who knew to ask and watched the ones who did not keep paying. So if that is true, then look at what is sitting underneath all of it. The 6 words never had any power of their own. You did. They are not a trick the bank does not know about. They are permission you were never told you already had. You were never powerless on that statement. You were only uninformed. And one short sentence hands the power back to the person it always belonged to. So that is the answer to the question we started with. The 6 words are, I would like this fee reversed, please. And they work because of who you say them to and how long you have been there, not because of the words themselves. There is one more piece I did not get to, a 7th word that only matters on the retention line, the one they are trained to talk you out of, and that is its own afternoon. If you read your statement closely enough to feel a fee before you have even finished the page, you were never the customer this bank could count on not to ask. You just did not know you were allowed. You say 6 words and the fee falls off your statement. Next time, I am going to show you the one sentence the retention department is trained to say to make you give up and hang up, and the single phrase that gets you straight past it to the person who can actually wipe the fee.